I simulated every US state in complete anarchy, but every 5 years, the weakest US state gets deleted. Comment down below which state you want to win, and let's get right into it. The current year is 2023. Every state starts with $50, but Texas already had 150 coins, which means something. Oh my gosh, so we already have our first fight between New York and New Jersey, another fight between Wisconsin and Michigan, Tennessee and Georgia. These fights break out so quickly, it's intense. Currently our #1 state, Texas, with a population of 3,600. All right, looks like New York took out New Jersey, so multiple states just came to peace agreements. Tennessee and Georgia decided to have a truce for now. Wisconsin is now fighting Iowa, and Arkansas and Louisiana also came to a truce. We have another fight over here on the Northeast, New Hampshire versus Massachusetts. That's gonna get spicy. And it looks like Massachusetts wins that one. I wasn't paying attention, but Colorado took New Mexico and Tennessee took Georgia. It has definitely been 5 years. It actually was 5 years in 2028, so I missed it by like 4. And our current weakest state is Rhode Island with only 21 people. Oh my gosh, they are scared for their lives, but they're gonna be gone. I'm so sorry, guys. Rest in peace. Watch as the vultures take the body of old Rhode Island. West Virginia just took out Pennsylvania. Also, not much growth between Alaska and Hawaii. And now it brings us to our next 5 years, 2033. And the weakest state now is Connecticut, surprisingly, with only 91 people. I guess they've really been getting destroyed these last couple of years. Rest in peace. California is in a really big fight against Nevada, but it looks like Arizona is actually backing them in kind of an alliance. This is definitely the biggest fight that's going on right now. Who wins this? They did decide to end in a truce though, for now. And still, Hawaii and Alaska have not fought anyone. I wonder if they even can. Maybe once they get enough money, they can actually build boats to go to the other places around the world. But for now, they're kind of landlocked. Montana is destroying North Dakota while Ohio eats up all of Indiana as well. This is getting super spicy. All right, so yeah, Ohio completely won that one. And Montana looks like they're going to take over North Dakota without any problem. South Dakota is getting attacked by both sides, but still standing their ground pretty well. And it looks like Maine is winning in the war against Vermont. Oh my gosh, there's another war, like Washington versus Oregon. Oh, and North Dakota was officially conquered by Montana. Oh, and I didn't even notice we've already progressed by 10 years. So I have to actually kill off 2 different states now, including Massachusetts and Hawaii. No, they haven't even been able to fight anyone yet, but just their slow progression has really led them to not being able to do much. So rest in peace, Hawaii. I'm so sorry, guys. And goodbye, Massachusetts. Let's see who takes their land. Looks like nobody's actually going over to Hawaii. I wonder if they literally cannot go over there because of the water. That's really interesting. Some other huge wars are going on right now. Arizona is getting destroyed by Utah and Colorado. Oregon oh my gosh, they just took over Washington. So much is happening all at once. It's kind of hard to keep track of it all. And Ohio just took over Illinois. Looks like North Carolina is fighting Tennessee while South Carolina fights Florida. North Carolina actually beats Tennessee, but doesn't get much of the land because Kentucky and Mississippi take it real quick. Also, by the way, when I was saying population, it actually is based off area. Minnesota is getting raw dogged right now by Wisconsin and Montana. It's crazy. Our biggest alliance right now is actually California, Nevada, Arizona, and Alaska. And they're actually going into battle against 2 other states in alliance, Utah and Colorado. This is our first big alliance battle, and it's crazy. This also brings us to our next 5 years. I literally keep on not even noticing it because it's down there. But currently, the weakest state is Maryland. Rest in peace. And the big alliance battle still rages on over here in the east. And it looks like Kansas was conquered by Arkansas. And Oklahoma and Arkansas just formed an alliance as well. Who is going to win this major alliance battle? It looks like California's alliance is going to win this one just by the look of it. I mean, Utah's getting destroyed right now. And Minnesota is funding Nebraska a lot in this war right now. But it looks like, oh my gosh, Utah was conquered by Nevada, and Colorado, Arizona, and Nevada decided to truce for now. And the new biggest alliance is actually Wyoming's alliance with Colorado, South Dakota, and Montana. What a change in events. There are so many different major wars going on, like Texas and Louisiana completely conquering Arkansas, and also Oklahoma. Oh my goodness. Meanwhile, Alaska is doing absolutely nothing. I kind of feel bad for them. Maybe I should build a bridge to the other countries so they can actually do something. But first, it's actually been another 5 years, so we're gonna have to kill off our weakest state, which is South Carolina. I'm sorry, guys. You were probably gonna die to Florida either way, but rest in peace. And of course, their land gets swallowed up by North Carolina and Florida. But oh yeah, Alaska, I did not forget about you. Let me build you some land real quick. There you go. Maybe you could actually walk over to Arizona and start a war now. Does that actually work? It actually does. So maybe they'll fight against Arizona. You never know. In just one more year, it looks like we're going to have our next state. Oh my goodness, Oregon is completely taking over Nevada and California somehow. How does Oregon have so much power right now? It looks like Oregon actually took over. Oregon took over Nevada. That's completely absurd. Iowa also took out Wisconsin. Rest in peace. But Oregon has just become a complete powerhouse. I don't even know how. Also, since giving Alaska more land, they've been able to absolutely, literally gain more money. They're gaining way more now. I guess it kind of makes sense having more trade routes and stuff. You know what? What happens when I connect Alaska through Hawaii to Texas? I'm just curious. For the fun of it, let's connect Hawaii to all the other islands or landmass. I don't even know. Looks a little bit weird, but that might change absolutely everything. Of course, Texas is happy to take up the land, and so is Alaska. But right now, it looks like South Dakota is completely destroying Nebraska in this war. I think they might also be fighting Colorado, but they decided to do a truce. Oh my goodness, we have a major, oh my gosh, state war on the entire East Coast, with New York fighting West Virginia, Virginia fighting West Virginia, and North Carolina, Florida, and Alabama all fighting each other. And then we have another war over here with Oregon against California, Arizona, and Idaho. I don't think they're going to be able to win this just because there's too many powers fighting them, but they did decide to truce. Interesting. It has been another 5 years, though, so it looks like Virginia is actually out of the picture. Although, they were probably going to be out of the picture either way because they were getting fought by both sides, but goodbye, Virginia. Rest in peace. This video is so freaking hectic. So, oh my gosh, another war between Arizona and Colorado and Wyoming. Last time it didn't go too well for Colorado, so we'll have to see what happens here. It looks like they're actually winning this one. Alaska is supporting Arizona, but I don't think it's actually going to work out for them. We'll have to see what happens, unless California gives them money. They do have a... Oh my gosh! It looks like Colorado and Wyoming won that one and took the land. Another major fight between Oregon, Idaho, and California. This is going to be crazy. I think Oregon's going to win, though. They've just been doing so well. Yeah, it looks like they actually are winning against Idaho for now. No, they truced again. Interesting. Another war between Mississippi, Kentucky, and North Carolina. It looks like Mississippi is winning this one. Oh my gosh, Colorado just declared war against Texas. This is gonna be insane. Which is funny because they are literally in an alliance. I guess they don't really care about the alliances. They're not gonna pay attention to that. And Texas is fighting back swiftly. But Alaska is also joining the fight against Texas through the Hawaii Land Connection Bridge. That's what we'll call it. Another big fight on the East Coast. It looks like West Virginia is taking over New York while Ohio is taking over West Virginia. This is really interesting. We are already down to only 25 nations. That happened quickly. Anarchy is really a mess. I believe it's been another 5 years, so let's actually go ahead and delete let's go ahead and delete our weakest state, which is actually Kentucky. Rest in peace. Even though they have quite a big amount of land mass and money, they're just not big enough. Rest in peace. And it looks like Nebraska is actually going to take out both Oklahoma and Missouri if they keep up this pace, because they are going crazy. But Ohio, yeah, Nebraska took out Missouri. Ohio is on a roll, though. Idaho is in a fight between Montana and Wyoming. I don't know if they'll win that one. Although North Carolina is actually fighting back pretty well. They're actually split in two right now. But I think Ohio still might be on top. And Idaho, Wyoming, and Montana came to a truce, and so did everyone on the East Coast. Lots of truces right now, besides in Texasville. It looks like Alaska is actually putting up a pretty good fight against Texas, but I don't think they'll actually end up winning it. You never know, though. More fights going on in the, I don't know, middle hemisphere of the U.S. I don't know what to call it. South Dakota versus Iowa. And Ohio is actually fighting South Carolina as well. Oh my gosh, so many fights happening at once. But our biggest alliance by far is actually the Order of Wyoming, with Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and South Dakota. Although these states really don't seem to follow their actual commitments by fighting each other. Another fight is breaking out in Oregon against Idaho and California. I'm honestly kind of rooting for Oregon because I would have never expected them to win any fights, but they actually are holding their ground pretty well. Oh yeah, it's been another like 5 years, so I think we're gonna have to take out Alabama and Oklahoma at the same time. I'm so sorry guys, but I wasn't paying attention. Goodbye Oklahoma, and goodbye sweet home Alabama. Yeah, that land gets conquered up real quickly. The fight is still raging in Oregon, and the Nebraska versus South Dakota and Colorado fight is also going on pretty strong. There's no clear leader right now. I guess you could say Texas with 6,000 landmass, but they already started with a pretty large landmass. And next up is actually Colorado on landmass as well. Florida actually allianced with Texas, but that doesn't really mean much, not in our world. And in literally 1 year, we're going to delete our next state. So it's really getting spicy. We're down to 22. All right, it's time to delete Illinois. Rest in peace, guys. You should have gotten a little bit bigger, fought in a little bit stronger, but you didn't. I'm sorry. I'm guessing Ohio's gonna gobble up that land. Yes, they will. Another truce between North Carolina, Ohio, and South Carolina, and another fight between Oregon and Idaho and California. Oregon will not give up. They want to win this, and I kind of want to win them too. But I don't think they're going to. We'll have to see. South Dakota is gobbling up North Dakota right now, even though they have more money. Oh my gosh, Oregon actually takes out Idaho, and South Dakota takes out North Dakota. Oh my gosh, and then they declare war in Iowa? This is crazy. And Oregon is actually continuing to fight against California, and they look like they're winning. Texas and Louisiana are going up against Mississippi and Florida. So I really doubt that Mississippi can win this one if you have 3 states that are juggernauts fighting you. Oregon is now our second biggest state with 5,122 landmass, really close to Texas. And it looks like South Dakota is probably going to win against Iowa, but they actually truced. So our one big war right now is these 3 states against Mississippi. And it looks like Mississippi's actually holding their ground really well. With all this fighting going on, Mississippi actually takes out Louisiana somehow. And now they're going up against Texas. Yeah, Texas just keeps on losing landmass. They might not actually win. Which, you know, as a Texan, it's not the best, but it's fine. We also have a fight between California and Colorado right now. Kind of like a stalemate, but you never know what could happen. And Florida is also teaming up against Mississippi. South Carolina is getting surrounded by North Carolina somehow because they have 2 parts. And Nebraska is actually going up against Texas too. They're really getting surrounded by all sides. We can now actually delete another state, which is Maine. No! So it looks like New York has all of that free land that they can gobble up. That would be that's such a big thing for New York because they're actually our second smallest state. That is a really big deal for them. Because we're going to have to delete another state in just 1 year. A big truce between California, Colorado, and Alaska. Oh, it's already 2093. Oh my goodness, it's been like, what, 70 years since we started this challenge. Time flies so fast. 17 nations now. But unfortunately for North Carolina, which is actually in a war right now, they're not going to be able to finish it. That's big news for South Carolina. Not so great for Ohio, but maybe they can take it that way. Florida and Michigan just formed an alliance. That doesn't really make sense, but I guess. And it looks like Texas is beating Nebraska. Oh my gosh, Oregon is going into another huge fight right now against 3 different states at the same time. But since Oregon is just like so strong, they might actually be able to win this. You never know. Although, it doesn't look like they are. It looks like Wyoming and Montana are pushing back pretty well. Oh, South Carolina was actually conquered by Ohio. I didn't even notice that. It was on the other side of the map. Oh my goodness. And it looks like Colorado is actually fighting back against California and Alaska for some reason. Even though they've been in alliance since like the beginning of the game. And it doesn't look like Oregon's doing too hot right now. We're now down to 15 nations, and in just 1 year, or a couple months. Oh my gosh, what just happened? What in the world? Oregon just turned into Ravenly. What even there was a revolt in Oregon, and they just decided, you know what, our new name is Ravenly for some reason. That's not the greatest name, in my opinion, but okay. Did not expect that. Oregon now is negative $1,500, and Ravenly has $8,000. I don't even know what that means. Ohio is fighting like 5 different states at once right now because they're absolutely insane. Texas is still in the lead at landmass, but they haven't really done much in a while. Colorado might actually pick up pace and win because they're going crazy against Alaska and California, but they don't really seem to be doing too hot. We can also delete our next state, which is Michigan. Where even is Michigan? Over here. They haven't actually changed at all. Oh my goodness. They're like the exact same from the beginning. Rest in peace. And in just 3 short years, we're going to delete our next state as well. Ohio is quickly taking up that landmass. Oh my gosh, so Ravenly is... I swear, if Ravenly wins this challenge, it is going to be so cringe, because they're not even a real U.S. state. I mean, here, let's change the name to New Oregon, just for it to make a little bit more sense. Can we do that? New Oregon, there we go. I spelt it a little bit wrong, but it makes more sense now. Oh my goodness. We're now down to 15 nations again, but it looks like New Oregon actually might be beating California on this one, which is kind of a surprise. Oregon's been going crazy, but ever since they did their weird revolt thing, although Alaska is supporting California a lot with money, and they actually do seem to be winning this. And Texas is now fighting Colorado, which is the second biggest... Actually, hold up! When did this happen? Ohio is now the biggest landmass owner in the U.S. I don't even know when that happened, but they definitely surpassed Texas, which is not good for them. Now the East Coast is only owned by 3 different states, which is New York, Ohio, and Florida. And Alaska is actually declaring war against Texas as well. They're really beating them down when they're down. They're beating them down while they're down. Oregon is fighting Montana and Wyoming, and they probably will win. I mean, they're getting a lot of pushback, but they have so much more money. Oh yeah, and we're already going to delete our next state, which is... No, Florida! You guys should have been trying harder. I mean, it makes sense. You're like the exact same shape as Florida normally is, but you should have tried a little bit harder. You guys are supposed to be crazy. Yeah, Ohio is definitely going to take all of that landmass. They're super happy. They're super happy about that. Oregon is going crazy against Montana and Wyoming. They might actually be able to push back, and Texas and Alaska form a truce. Oh my gosh, these fights are getting crazy. So California is going to take over Old Oregon, which they have 0 money, so that'll be kind of easy. There's some huge fights going on in the Middle East. No, Middle America. What do you even call this? I don't even know. I shouldn't have a geography channel. Alright, so Colorado, Nebraska, and Texas form a truce. They form a truce, or a Twitter logo, you could say. We can now delete our next state, which is Oregon. They were already going to get taken over, so it's not a surprise. Rest in peace, Oregon. New Oregon takes that land quickly, which makes sense, because they used to be Old Oregon. Their current land mass owner is still Ohio, because they took up all of Florida's mass. I think Ohio might actually win this. And our biggest alliance by far is actually the Texas Pact between Iowa, Nebraska, Mississippi, and Texas, literally covering the entire middle bit of the U.S., dude. It's just like cut into basically Texas area. That is crazy. Is that the Midwest or the Mid-East? I guess we'd call it the Midwest. Yeah, we'd call it the Midwest. Sorry, I have brain damage. Right now, nothing much is happening. But something has to happen because we have to delete our next state, which is actually New York. You guys should have been fighting. I'm sorry. Rest in peace. We are now down to 12 nations. Ohio gets all of that land. That is so insanely good for Ohio. They have the entire East Coast now. Oregon is fighting against Montana and Wyoming, but it looks like Ohio is probably going to win all of this by far. Oh my gosh, New Oregon is now fighting California, Montana, and Wyoming, and Colorado at once. It doesn't look like they're going to win this. Colorado is going up against Nebraska, Texas, South Dakota, and California is completely devouring New Oregon, which made sense. They just put too much on their plate. They just put too many wars on their plate. It made sense that eventually... Oh, they actually decided to truce somehow. That's kind of a surprise, because I would personally just take all their lands if I was California, but I'm not. Alaska somehow is taking lots of landmass in Texas. How is this happening? They form a truce, but they got so far. Colorado is pushing on Texas as well, and Oregon is actually expanding their land into Montana and Wyoming. Some of this stuff is just too surprising, and it doesn't make too much sense to me. And Ohio's just like chilling, you know, with 8,500 landmass. They don't really have much to think about. Colorado is getting some pretty big pushback right now. I don't think they're going to actually last for very long because Nebraska is going crazy on them. And Texas looks angry. New Oregon, Montana, Wyoming form a truce. That's good because New Oregon, I don't know if they'd actually be able to... Oh, California and New Oregon actually decide to form an alliance. A turn of events. Although I don't think that really means much for them because alliances in this actually mean nothing. By far the richest state, though, actually is Colorado with 16,000 coins, but it doesn't seem to be helping them much in their actual fighting because they just got taken out by Nebraska. Oh my goodness, this is big. That is the second biggest state completely destroyed, leaving Ohio the biggest in the lead. Ohio's actually trying to take over Mississippi right now. What is going to happen? I'm honestly rooting for Mississippi. Because, you know, they're the small dog. Oh my gosh, another fight going on over here between Wyoming, Montana, and New Oregon. I really doubt Oregon's going to win this one just because there's so many different landmasses fighting them. But you never know. There's so much happening right now. And it looks like Mississippi's actually fighting back pretty well against Ohio. I would be surprised if Ohio lost just because they're so huge right now. But you never know. And Oregon and California are actually teaming up on this one against Montana and Wyoming. Now that I know that California has their back, I definitely think they're going to win this fight, which is going to be really big. Also, I think like 10 years have passed, which means we have to delete a lot of places. Wait, did 10 years actually pass? I think it did. Oh my gosh. Wait, this is huge. Okay, we have to delete New Oregon. So first we're going to delete Montana. Rest in peace. And now we have to move over to New Oregon, which could be really big for California or really bad since it is their best friend. But they could, like, you know, grab their corpse, grab their land. Let's see what happens here. Or Wyoming just gets absolutely everything, which could be the truth. Oh my gosh, California's not pushing very hard in this. They're not grabbing all the lands. It looks like South Dakota actually becomes the winner of this whole New Oregon situation, or I don't even know. Ohio and Mississippi are still fighting pretty strong. No one's really in the lead on this fight, which is surprising because Ohio has so much land. We're also in the top 10, by the way, with states. We have Alaska, Texas, Mississippi, Ohio, California, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, and Iowa. And it looks like, oh my gosh, Wyoming is going crazy against California. They're pushing so hard. They're rapidly gaining so much. Oh, wait, in literally a second, they're already our biggest landmass owner. How did this happen? With just the support of South Dakota? Oh my goodness. That was absurd. In just 2 years, we delete our next state, by the way. But Wyoming got so much landmass. They are now in the lead. Alaska and California are teaming up to fight Texas. I don't know how this one's going to work. It looks like Alaska's actually winning this, which is not great for the Texans. You can't even resemble the state anymore by the actual outlines. It does not look like Texas anymore. Also, it's been 5 years, so we have to delete our next state, which is actually in active conflict right now. Rest in peace, Iowa. Oh my goodness. If you guys can understand what's happening right now, please leave a like because I can barely understand what's happening. But I just know Alaska right now is going crazy on Texas. And Mississippi is getting a large amount of landmass after Iowa collapsed. Now, it's mostly peace, but we all know that that doesn't last very long. In just 2 years, we have another state that has to get deleted, and it looks like it's probably going to be Virginia. Also, how the heck did North Carolina and Virginia show up? I'm really confused. So apparently a revolt happened in Ohio that gave us Virginia and North Carolina back. Somehow. I don't know how that makes any sense, but I guess the people were like, we're not very happy with the Ohio. We want our land back, and they just kind of took it with no pushback. Another big fight in the Midwest between Nebraska, Mississippi, Wyoming, and South Dakota. I have no idea how this is actually going to end up. Like, who knows? Virginia could just magically become the biggest state. But before we do that, we have to actually delete them because it's been 5 years. Oh my goodness. This is really intense. if your state has been out for a while, they could still come back through a revolt, which kind of makes this whole thing really interesting. California is now fighting back against Wyoming, actually retrieving all of the East Coast, besides Alaska, or the West Coast, sorry, I can't even speak. Texas is fighting back against Alaska, but California is pushing pretty hard on Wyoming, but Wyoming is pushing back as well. I can't believe at a certain point, also another revolt in South Dakota making Iowa form. Where even is that? Over here. Apparently Iowa just wanted to come back to life, so they did. Magically. So Texas and Alaska truce, but I don't think that's going to happen with Wyoming and California. Wyoming is going crazy right now. I don't think California is going to last very long, especially with all the funding that Wyoming is getting. Also, it's been another 10 years, so Iowa, which just showed up again, you guys are out, okay? Your revolt lasted not very long. 5 years to be precise. Not even 5, it was like 2 years. Wyoming is still pushing really hard at California unless they end up trucing, which, oh my gosh, how did this happen? Okay, Wyoming was somehow conquered by Nebraska. I guess their border was super close, which makes sense. They were like on the very edge. But this is huge gains for every other state. Oh my goodness. This is like a major surprise for me. So California gets all this land back, and Texas actually might become in the lead very, very soon with 8,000 land mass, super close to Ohio. But I don't think they'll be able to because California takes all the land first. And now Alaska, California are both pushing down on Texas. South Dakota is going against Nebraska. There is some major fighting here. Oh my goodness, it's been another 5 years though. We're gonna have to get rid of North Carolina. I mean, you guys, you're revolted to get your land anyways. Not cool, man. I don't know who actually wins this. Just by seeing the current fights that are happening, we are down to their top 7. But, like I said, with revolting and everything, it doesn't really last long. Oh my goodness, I really thought... I thought Wyoming actually had a pretty good chance in winning, but after that, that was absurd. Texas also has an insanely close capital to Nebraska, so if Nebraska even pushed just a little bit, they could actually take over all of Texas, which would be insane. No other state can say the same. I guess South Dakota and Nebraska, but it's still a little bit far away. In just one more year, we're deleting our next weakest state, which is actually going to be a huge upset, especially in our current, like, world politics, you could say. South Dakota is actually supporting Texas in this war, which is pretty big. But it's been 5 years, so we're actually going to delete all of Alaska. Oh my goodness, that's going to change a lot. Okay, so goodbye, Alaska. How does that change everything? Because now Texas gets all of this free landmass. Oh my goodness, that's actually so OP for Texas. Wait, does that give them like 10,000, 11,000 landmass? I mean, I know their capital is really close to Nebraska, so they could be taken out easily, but now they're really in the lead. Ohio and South Dakota are teaming up to take out all of Mississippi, and it seems to be working because they are not putting up much of a fight. But apparently a bunch of revolts just happened. Michigan just came back, New York, Maryland, and Bar Hill. Heathvar. What the frick is Heathvar? You know what? It's been another like 10 years, so we're just gonna delete Heathvar because that's just terrible. no, I'm not. Why does there have to be so many revolts just as we're getting to like the top 5 nations? All of this is happening. All right, New York, Maryland, and Michigan just decided to be like, you know what? We're coming back. We're just gonna come back, even though New York is now already gonna get deleted by Michigan. Oh my gosh. So a lot of revolts are happening right now, and I'm not happy about that. So I'm just gonna disable revolts because they're changing too much about how everything is happening right now. They're happening too often, okay? Look at all of the revolts that just happened. I'm gonna delete the most recent 4 revolts, but I'll keep the last 4. It just changes way too much. Oh my goodness. So it looks like our current state by far in the lead is Texas, and our weakest state by far is New York with only 200 landmass because they magically revolted themselves into existence. But that's not going to last very long because it's already been 5 years, so we're going to take them out. Rest in peace, New York. Michigan actually takes all the land. If Michigan somehow magically wins just because of the revolt, it's going to definitely be interesting. I think now that we're in the top 8, it's time to actually speed up the progress of all of the wars that happen because I'm just interested in what happens. Oh my gosh, there's a purchase pending. I don't even know what's happening. All right, so there's a big fight between Nebraska, Mississippi, and South Dakota. Maryland just decided to alliance with South Dakota, which doesn't really mean much. It's also been 5 years, so sorry, Maryland, you're going to have to die. Rest in peace. Ohio gets all of that land. And Ohio is actually eating up Michigan. Oh my gosh, Nebraska and Mississippi just push onto South Dakota and completely take the land, making Nebraska our second biggest state by a lot. And they don't even have Alaska or Hawaii. Ohio also takes out all of Michigan, giving them 7,300 landmass. We're now in the top 5. There's so many fights happening right now. California is pushing down on Nebraska and Texas. Ohio is trying to take out Mississippi, but they end up trucing. Oh my goodness, these fights are getting close. So Nebraska, California. Oh, what just... Hold up. What just happened? Mississippi decided to unite into Texas, giving them 17,000 landmass. That is so huge for Texas. I didn't even know you could unite in this game, but apparently you can. Now we're down to our top 4 nations. This is insane. Texas, Nebraska, California, and Ohio. Comment down below right now who you think will win out of these top 4. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Texas is completely taking out Ohio. 19,000 landmass right now. No way. We're not going to delete any more from now on since we're in the top 4 and there's no more revolting. We're just going to keep it as it is and see who actually wins from these fights. So far, it seems to be kind of like a stalemate between these countries. There is a fight going on in California, and they're getting most of their money from Iowa, but I don't know. Nobody really has all that much money right now besides Nebraska. Ohio is somehow taking out so much of Texas, regaining a lot of that landmass. It's really just Nebraska and Texas versus Ohio and California. I don't know what's going to happen here. Everyone's kind of running out of money. All right, so Texas actually taking out a lot of Ohio, giving them 2,300, 23,000, 24,000 landmass. Okay, a lot just happened. So Texas went sicko mode on Ohio, and they only have 100 money right now. So if they just went a little bit harder, they could easily take out all of Ohio. So much stuff is happening right now. We're also in year 20... what do you even say? 2,200? Well, 2,199. If that ever actually happens in real life, maybe this will happen. Maybe Texas will take over the entire U.S. So it looks like Nebraska and Texas are teaming up against California. I mean, there's no way California wins this, right? They have like barely any money, and they're only getting their money from Ohio, which has no money. Yeah, so it looks like Nebraska and Texas are going to completely take out California. Dude, it's kind of hard to predict who wins this. I mean, I guess you could say not really, because it's clear Texas has a huge foothold, but Nebraska still has 15,000 area, unless they decide to unite magically. And then Texas easily wins it. Ohio is silently gaining money, but really not fast enough as Texas. They gain like $100 every like 2 seconds, which in this game, I think kind of is what makes you win. I think the more money you have and the more landmass just gives you bonus, but here we go. I don't think California, so they decided to truce again, but this is spicy, dude. Just gonna sit back and relax. California, they definitely lose this one, right? What? They're pushing back like so hard. How are they pushing back at all? Oh my goodness. They are really putting up a great fight for the amount of landmass they have, which is not a lot. So Texas decided to join the California Pact, and California united into Texas. Ohio united into Texas. What is happening? Texas now has 30,000 landmass, and they're just fighting Nebraska. This is so unpredictable. But no, yeah, Nebraska does not win this unless magically, like there'd have to be some magic thing in this game that I just don't know about that happens to help Nebraska win. But Texas has 37,000 landmass right now. I mean, how do they possibly lose this? Oh my goodness, this is so intense. Yeah, no, they're running out of money so quickly, and Texas is just gaining money. Yeah. Nebraska has run out of money, and the second Texas land hits Nebraska, they win. Oh, dude, they drew so close. Oh my goodness. If they have one more fight, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. Oh, yeah. What? Hold up. How did this happen? Nebraska's capital has been taken over, and they somehow proceed to exist. Wait. Yeah, they're gone now, right? Okay. It looks like Texas takes over all the Nebraska. We still have to be sure, because, okay, somehow they're magically alliancing, even though the entire capital was deleted. I mean, I'm curious what would happen if I just turned on the revolt thing after this, but let's let Texas take over Nebraska, which is going to happen any second now. Yeah. Why are you trucing? You literally have, like, taken over their entire land. Let's speed up a little bit. Just take over, Texas. What? How did they? Oh my gosh! Stop! They have 300 land. Just win the battle, Texas. Okay. There's no way they would actually be able to fight back this hard. Just win, Texas. Okay. So Nebraska now has no land, and Texas is the biggest state. Congratulations, Texas. You won. But just for the heck of it, I'm actually gonna turn back on revolts just to see what happens. And no states care to revolt right now, really. Okay. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please go check out this one right here. It's an absolute banger. And goodbye.